Hello and welcome to Behind the Barcode, a Baptist World Aid Australia series that unpacks the truth about ultra-fast fashion and also how it impacts people and the planet. My name's Hannah, and having worked at a not-for-profit for almost 10 years, I'm now on a mission to be more mindful about what I buy.
And I'm Kat. I work to make the fashion industry more ethical, and I love bringing those insights into my everyday life and into my wardrobe. We are your hosts for this conversation. Ultra-fast fashion is reshaping how we wear, value, and buy our clothes. These cheap clothes really do come at a great cost. So, without further ado, let's get behind the barcode. Hannah, what brings you to this conversation? Could you share a little bit of your background as to why you're here at this table?
That's so good. Apart from because you asked me to? No. I have been working for Baptist World Aid actually for almost 10 years, which I can't believe, but in a lot of different roles. And the one I'm currently in, which is marketing and fundraising, has given me a lot of exposure to obviously what we do, but also the people at the other end of it. So when I was at uni, I've studied development studies. I was really exposed to what's happening in a lot of different countries in the world. And in my mind, I think that, yes, there are systems that oppress, but also that I've realised that we're also part of that system. So for me, if I can do just a little bit in helping to reduce what happens and, the cycles that are keeping people in poverty and also the impact on the planet, that's really important to me.
I'm really passionate about the possibility that business has to do good in the world, but the reality that it's not achieving that very often. So during uni, I actually started this small social enterprise, making peanut butter and donating the profits to end hunger.
I love that so much.
But the scale was so small with me and my blender, and I realized for the impact that I wanted to have, I really am better served spending my time advocating to change the fashion system and to advocate to these big companies. So I love that I get to do that now. And I think what really excites me is that I see overlap in the things that are good for me as a consumer and as a whole person is often good for the worker and good for the planet. And that's certainly the case in ultra-fast fashion, where we're seeing shoppers are addicted, workers are exploited, the environment is harmed, but there is another way, and I'm hopeful and I want to pursue that.
Yeah, that's really great. I think you could just look at me as being someone who is on the journey. I'm really trying to do my best, but there are often times or events where I'm just needing to buy something quick and get the outfit I need straight out the door. And so I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I'm hoping that I can learn a lot from you and the research that you do. We only sit like 3 desks apart, but as often happens when you're colleagues or co-workers, we don't get to see a huge amount of, the day-to-day. So I'm really looking forward to this and hoping I can take away a bunch of tips to implement in my time as well.
In preparation for this series that we're making, I've been sitting down with some leading voices in the Australian fashion and ethics space. And I spoke with Alice Payne, who's the Dean of the Fashion School at RMIT.
Cool.
And she shared this quote that I think really frames what we'll be talking about. So I thought it was a good place to start.
I suppose it's worth, first of all, highlighting that fashion and fashioning oneself is intrinsic to all humans. We fashion ourselves in time and place and culture, and all the clothes that we wear throughout history come from the stuff of the earth, are transformed through human labor and ingenuity into these funny, floppy things that we wear throughout our lives, that we adorn ourselves, we express culture, we fit in, we stand out, and that's something that's intrinsically human. What we have, though, in this particular time and place is a particular form of fashion system that has been about, I guess, drawing on that love of human expression and adornment and actually almost twisting it into something quite extractive, exploitative, and really directed fully at the profits of a few.
It's so true. It kind of makes you mad thinking about how this is a form of individual expression, and then actually the way that these, ultra-fast fashion kind of giants are taking it is they're exploiting our desire to look and feel individual by kind of gamifying it and making it something that we need to always change all the time or never, never wear the same outfit twice. That's really insightful.
I think, it's interesting because we are kind of born and raised really in fashion as an industry where mass production is just the way things work now. And growing up, there were certain brands or styles that you had to wear to fit in. But just thinking back that actually this is just part of being human, is expressing ourselves. It's always the first thing that people notice about you. Yeah, and just kind of stripping it back and seeing also where it's gotten to here. And that's so interesting what she pulled out about human expression has been twisted for the profits of a few. Particularly with these ultra-fast fashion brands, there is absolutely every style that you could dream of on these sites, and they're set up to just show you more and more, and absolutely with the hyper-specific. So you feel like something that's exactly you is on there.
That is tricksy.
Yeah.
Actually, could we pause and say, what actually is ultra-fast fashion, if I could ask you that question, and specifically how might it differ from fashion as we know it, maybe?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. I think, to be honest, it's probably like a lot of things on a spectrum, and it's hard to know exactly where you'll put the boundaries and say that's ultra-fast fashion and not just fast fashion. But if we think about the evolution of clothes and the fashion system, we may have heard of fast fashion. That's where these brands like Zara and H&M might be the textbook examples of this. They'll keep an eye on the catwalk and they'll translate these styles to the everyday consumer with quite a quick turnaround. They're also releasing many seasons of clothing every year, not just autumn, winter, spring, summer, but maybe one every week. So there's a lot of volume. And that's come with challenges on workers as well and on the environment. And really ultra-fast fashion, as it says on the tin, is that but magnified, sped up, more exploitative, more extractive, more polluting, more addictive, more short-lived, just all of these things a bit more to the extreme. And the textbook brands there that we know to be ultra-fast fashion would be Shein and Temu. Other ones might include Boohoo, Cider, I don't even know how to say, Runway? I'm actually going to look it up.
Runway.
Runway?
Yeah,
is that it? Sounds like runway.
What's the opposite? Rumway?
Rumver?
Oh, yes, because it might be European or something. I thought you were saying runway, so maybe that's what the point is. But that is really interesting because especially looking at the last 100 years of fashion, you've got, that really ultra couture, or I guess fashion was just utility, right? Like you wore what you needed to wear for work, or you wore what you needed to do, whatever was necessary. And then the fashions came in. I was even thinking, I've got two nieces, and thinking about children and then sort of teenage fashion. These, fashion for children didn't come in until the 60s, 70s, maybe 90s.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So. Yeah.
I've just said so many decades in that. But I definitely know that from the 50s, children just wore miniature adult outfits. So I do feel that it's so fast moving. And, people would had the one outfit and then that would be their fancy, Sunday best. And then they would wear that until it wore out. And nowadays there's a lot of pressure, I think, from society to almost wear outfits and just keep wearing something new every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably seeing that this is a type of fashion that is from social media and for social media. They're learning about us and what we like and what we interact with and the kind of person that we are by looking at our social media habits. And we actually have a whole episode about that consumer psychology and impact, and also the business model of surveilling us on social media. And it's for social media in that we are much less likely to outfit repeat because we don't want to be seen online in the same thing twice, even though I think I've worn this outfit to a lot of work events, and it's pretty well known as a cat top.
Great.
So I'm doing my own bit here to just
great cat top.
Break the mold.
Yeah. Actually, same with mine. I just realised it was the last thing I wore on a LinkedIn post about myself. So there you go.
There you go.
So another question is, obviously both of us work for Baptist World Aid. Why do we care about this at all as an organisation?
because Baptist World Aid has been producing the Ethical Fashion Report and Guide for a long time, and it's in my role, it can just roll off the tongue that people will know what it means when I say ethical fashion. But there's actually a lot of things that could go into that and that could sort of weigh in on the definition. So I think it might be helpful just to set out the context of when Baptist World Aid says ethical fashion, we actually mean, this and not that. So we believe that all people deserve to live and work in a healthy environment, and that workers, should be treated with respect and dignity. And we do that specifically looking at what's gone on in the life cycle of the clothes that we buy, and particularly in how it's gotten to us. So right from the cotton farm to where those cotton balls are sewn into or woven into fabric that's then sewn into clothing, there are probably around 100 people that have touched our clothes before they've gotten to us. So it's a human story of clothes to our wardrobe, but it's also far away from us, so we can forget that. And so Baptist World Aid has really sought to just raise awareness for those people in that supply chain and the conditions that they're in. As global supply chains have become more complex, they've become more opaque, and exploitation might be happening really far away from me. But that doesn't mean that I'm powerless. And I think our guide that can help you just shop a little more aligned with your values is a great place to start. Our last edition, we did 450 plus brands, so there's a good chance that your favourites will be on that list. Ultra fast fashion is really this cultural phenomenon that doesn't neatly fit into maybe the questions that we assess about supply chain ethics. But it's a conversation that needs to be had. It's impacting us as consumers, and I'm really just glad that we have this opportunity to look at it more in depth.
Yeah, it's really topical as well, right? Do we have an idea of, or would you know how long ultra fast fashion in its current form has been around? Surely it didn't predate COVID. I don't know if in my brain remember that.
Interestingly, Shein was founded in 2008, which is longer than people expect because you didn't know about it in 2008. Temu, I think, was 2022, so much fresher. Certainly these brands skyrocketed during COVID. And so it is quite this new thing that has grown also alongside TikTok, using that data and using that as a platform to advertise. Really you just get this polarized and unsure opinion in the public. Fashion hauls are a big trend, dumping huge boxes of plastic wrapped clothing, and this real overconsumption trend. And then also even the likes of SNL making skits about how toxic the chemicals are used in these clothes. Some people know it's bad. Some people absolutely love it, and some people are just not sure. But hopefully throughout this series, we'll get to the bottom of it a bit.
The why a bit more.
Yeah.
But also, is that not so true about how we know a lot of things are bad for us? The consumer psychology of that. I know that I shouldn't be eating as much sugar as I do in any given day, or I know that I should be exercising more, or I know that I shouldn't be spending money on X. It's such an interesting one because sometimes in this case, that statement about knowledge is power, it is, but sometimes we just choose to have a blind eye about it because there's just so many other competing things. Societal pressure, I probably would say, that's got to be a big one, which I am looking forward to unpacking in a later episode. And also just, this desire, like you said, to show who we are, to individuate through what we wear, which is totally a valid thing. But how do we do that in a way that might be less harmful to people and to the planet? So that's good question. I did see a stat about how Shein, just the volume of clothes compared to, so perhaps even 10, 15 years ago when you might see very seasonal outfits. You mentioned this earlier of, just the autumn, winter, spring, summer. But these ultra fast fashion companies, it's a lot more, right? So it's something like Zara adds 35,000 in a year. Which is almost 100 new fashion fashion outfits a day. That's crazy.
That's a lot.
And then Shein more?
Shein, The stats vary, but somewhere between 2 and 10,000 each day. So absolutely different scale that we're working with.
So insane. Question for you.
Yeah.
Is that every single day these are new fashion trends that are coming out? These are finished outfits ready to sell? Or do you think it's just the fashion
products that are being listed? So it'll just be
Yeah.
a piece. Yeah. It really,
Does
that Miranda Priestley quote from Devil Wears Prada
Yeah.
is so helpful, but she's sort of saying to Andy, that blue jumper that you're wearing, you think it's just a blue jumper that you got out of a bargain bin. But, 6 months ago, this designer debuted this colour on the runway. It's trickled down through these sort of brands and designers and democratized, and now you've grabbed it out of a budget bin. And that was kind of the story of fast fashion. Ultra fast is looking at social media. They're saying, this seems to be working. People are looking at this reel longer than another one. Let's try it. They can design the pattern really quickly. They'll make 100 pieces to start with, see how it goes, and
Scale up. Yeah.
So it's very dynamic, and it's totally working for them. Like, they're so profitable. Every other company, maybe not every other company, a lot of other companies are really scrambling to follow suit because they've tapped into this ability to use that data and turn it around to keep us hooked. So in a way, they have been doing successfully what a lot of other companies have been trying to for ages.
Yeah.
There is just a human face behind it still that makes those clothes, though.
Yeah, but it works.
Yeah.
Also, I do need to applaud that you managed to basically say that whole quote from the movie from your memory.
I'm very excited for number 2 coming out soon.
I know. It's so, I love it.
In this podcast, we've been talking about injustice in the fashion industry. But that's not the only place we see this problem. For 700 million people around the world living in extreme poverty, injustice is felt in the small things. Who gets to eat, be paid fairly for work, drink clean water, go to school, sleep somewhere warm tonight? It's not right that so many people, through no fault of their own, can't access the small yet vital things in life. But together, we can change that. Baptist World Aid is an aid and development organization. Since 2013, we've been working towards creating a fairer fashion industry, one that's better for people and better for the planet. And for over 60 years, we've also been connecting generous Australians with local Christian partners who work alongside children, women, and men, helping them fight injustice and build long-term solutions to poverty. We help communities prepare for disasters like floods or earthquakes, and we help our local partners provide emergency aid when disasters strike. Together with our partners and local communities, we dream of a world where poverty has ended and all people enjoy the fullness of life God intends. To learn more about our work and how you can get involved, visit baptistworldaid.org.au, also linked in the show notes.
So what would be your fashion style, do you think? We've already talked about the cat top, which you're wearing at the moment.
That's right. I would say my style is pretty laid back, and I don't stick too strictly to one style, probably because I've grown up op shopping, and you can't be too choosy when you're op shopping. You don't know what you're going to get. So I'll find a piece that I love and build outfits around it. I love a lot of pattern and a lot of colour. As I'm getting older, I think I'm more aware of what fabrics feel good and what fibres I like. Yeah, but really I'd say mostly secondhand I find is really unique and fun to play around with.
Oh my gosh, you would have been the coolest kid in high school to have this op shop. Come on now.
I was such random stuff that wasn't on trend because I wasn't getting the latest, what was big, like the country road bags and a sports girl pencil case. That was really in. Yeah. So I remember those things, but maybe I didn't have them.
Yep.
Just running my own race.
We are like a few years apart. Are you in your 20s?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So someone here at the table in their 20s, I'm here in my 30s. And I will say that, we definitely had our own style. I was reflecting on my style in high school as well, just some random things. But the difference was, and I do think this is another reflection on why ultra fast fashion is working now, is also like what young people have to deal with. We could try so many things and we didn't have it constantly it wasn't constantly monitored. It wasn't constantly seen. We could try a phase and then be like, oh, that didn't work. And it wasn't so terrible, socially. Anyway, that's a side note. But I would say my fashion style is probably a bit more capsule wardrobe. So I definitely have some monochromatic, pants, tops, things like that. And then I love to just keep wearing them in different sort of ways, but then I will also do colour as well. I really like a bit of pattern.
Yeah.
This one's one of my favourites from a great ethical company called Elk. It's so good, but so basically, that's my style. I also think when it comes to trends, and I do just think the older you get, it's where I think you feel either one, that you know what works for you and therefore what won't work for you with any new trend, like a lot easier, like you really understand that. And then the other thing is that I just care less, honestly. So, but that's again why I was saying I really do feel for, the young folk. It makes me sound old.
I think it's so important in your teens to learn how you want to express yourself and reinvent yourself and see what feels good as you're just getting used to being a person and you're growing. And so I think that's a really important part of growing up. And these ultra fast fashion sites that can give you clothes so cheaply means that it's really easy to just experiment and try. But
True.
Again, secondhand, there's a whole range of different styles represented in a store there, and you can just
pick and choose,
play around with it.
Yeah. But time is the thing that you need on your side, right? And I do feel like that's why these companies work again, because it's offering probably really quick turnaround and probably also quick delivery.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not as good as you at going to op shops, so I would love to keep doing that a bit more, especially where I live. There's loads of them, so I should be doing that a bit more. But it does take time, doesn't it? And that's okay. It's just like exercise takes time, just like all the things that are good for us take time.
It is a bit of a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get there.
Yeah.
Our society just is moving to hyper specificity. I was telling you on our drive up here that my Spotify day list of the morning was Brat Summer Recession Pop Monday morning. What is that?
I don't know.
And I'm sure that an ultra fast fashion brand would give me the perfect outfit to match my Brat Summer Recession Pop listening phase.
Absolutely.
But that's so niche and so short-lived.
Yep.
Yeah.
I often say, my husband is always like, oh my gosh, Hannah, the marketing works on her so well, just because if I'm like, if there's something that I've been looking at and suddenly I see it's on sale and it's only till midnight, it's a struggle for me not to immediately buy it. So I do think that there is a push and pull here of trying to be more present and think more consciously and be more deliberate about the choices.
I think that raises an important point that yes, it's a system that we're a part of. We have a role to play every dollar that we spend, the way that we raise our voice about certain topics. We are influential in the conversation, and brands are serving their consumers, but they also have billion-dollar marketing budgets and teams and the best people putting their efforts to hacking our psychology. And
True that.
Actually, Alice, who we heard from earlier, we're going to hear a few more quotes from her in our next episode. And she said, we've laid out this banquet and removed every barrier for consumers. We can't blame them then for wanting to eat and sometimes gorging ourselves on this feast laid out. And I think that was a helpful image that we have a part to play, but we're certainly not responsible for where we've ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. So obviously you and I might feel a particular way about ultra fast fashion and we might be sitting on the same side of the coin, but we acknowledge that lots of people have different relationships with it. Sometimes it's just our lives are so busy and it's just going to be easier, to do that. And I even was reflecting in the car that I don't know I can't remember the last time I went to a actual concrete shop to shop for something for clothes. It really is. I've gotten into the habit of just the convenience of having it delivered to my door. Even if it is an ethical company, it really is in that. So we just want to acknowledge at the outset that there might be people who engage with it all the time. We don't want this to be a to shame you out or to make you feel guilty about that. It's just a conversation to sort of, have a discussion about what role does it play in your life? How often do you use it? Or, and why? Like, just ask that question, why? So we want people to feel that this is a safe place to talk about it. And also that it is intentionally this podcast is created to educate and to empower. So we want to give people the tools to have a think about it and question them for themselves and, really get stuck into it and be reflective as well. Even in just this introduction, it's pretty clear that this isn't just a single-minded issue. There's so many layers to it. We're obviously, talking a bit about the consumer psychology, which we've already unpacked. And I'm really excited to be continuing this conversation about the history of ultra-fast fashion, probably the environmental impact as well, the human impact of it,
Yes, and then the final episode is really around where to from here, and is there hope in the future of the fashion industry? Something that's been a real privilege is that I've been sitting down with our interviewees and I've asked them all, if you could redesign the fashion industry around one core value, what would you design it around? And what is your hope for the future of fashion? And I think it's important to leave this conversation not feeling like it's out of our hands, but the world is going in this dire direction. So we've created some tools as well for people to, in their own life and as they become an advocate, to really make a difference and feel that alignment between their values and how it's been lived out. One of the tools that we have created for listeners of this podcast is really to acknowledge the fact that, as you just said, Hannah, our individual consumer actions can feel like a drop in the ocean, but when we take action collectively, or when our legislation changes to reflect the values of our country and of the citizens in it, that's when real change can happen. And so we've created a tool for people to speak out to their MP, asking for legislation that just sets the playing field more fairly for fashion companies. A little early maybe to plug it here because there's a lot more that we have to learn across this series, but hey, if you're excited and interested, feel free to just head to our show notes and get onto it now.
I feel like little cat at uni with her peanut butter business will be definitely loving that call to action. So, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it definitely does feel like hard to see how my single decisions, just little old me, might make a difference. But if a lot of us do it, maybe it can.
Yeah, it adds up.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for this introduction. I'm looking forward to diving into it a bit more for the next episode with you.
Amazing.
Thanks.
You've been listening to a Baptist World Aid Australia podcast. We know some brands won't change unless the rules of the game change. You can help create a just fashion system by using our tool to write to your MP, urging them to support industry-wide legislation that will mean fair treatment for workers and better protections for the environment. Check out our ethical fashion guide linked in our show notes to see how fashion brands measure up. Baptist World Aid Australia is a not-for-profit Christian organisation working with communities towards a world without poverty. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we're on, and we pay our respects to elders past and present.